Hello, 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 hello. Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning into my Facebook Live. My name is Dion Johnson. I'm Strategic Ally and Master Coach to women in senior leadership, and I just really want to thank you for joining me here on this Facebook Live today. It's a brilliantly sunny, warm day over London, and I'm feeling like summer is on the way. And that always feels really good to me. So as you join, go ahead and put your name and where you're watching from in the chat box so I can say hi. I can see you all joining. I don't want to be with you long today. I just really want to share what's on my heart. You see, today I've been networking and I've had such a fantastic time hanging out. Hi, Ernestine. Thank you for joining. I've been networking today and I've had a really fantastic time just hanging out with some of my professional peers, talking about occupational and organizational development and leader development. And it's been a really rich, really rewarding day. I love networking, and oftentimes I ask the question when I'm there to people that I'm talking to is, what drives you? What motivates you to be doing what you're doing? What are you passionate about? And I asked that question today. Hi, Ernestine. Thank you so much for joining. I asked this question to a lady today, and what she said really sounded loud to me. She said, wow, let me think about that, she said, when I asked her about her passion. She said, I can't remember the last time that I talked about work and passion in the same sentence. And it really struck me because she's not unusual. Hi, Tiffany. Thank you so much for joining. I've heard so much about you. Welcome. So I asked a woman what was her passion, and she said she couldn't remember for ages ever talking about work and passion in the same sentence. And it sounded an alarm bell to me because I know that so many people have this issue. What about you? Do you identify? Do you know what's driving you, what you're passionate about, why you're doing what you're doing? So today I really want to share with you an idea that I thought about when I was listening to this woman talk today. And it's about the notion of becoming wrecked. It's about being wrecked. So I read this book ages ago by a guy named Jeff Goins. And the book tells a story of this guy who was one day walking down the road with a group of his friends. They were all sort of larking about on the sidewalk. It was in New York. They were walking down the street, and this homeless guy came up to Jeff and tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Look, I'm hungry. Can you feed me?" And all the guys, this group of guys, they kind of just sort of like told the guy to get lost and go about his business and sort of brushed him off. And this guy went away, and the group of guys carried on their journey, walking down the street. But Jeff Goins, he just describes really beautifully how his life was never the same from that moment. That even though he went off with all of his mates and they were still larking around and they were still, goofing around like lads do along the way, something was going on with him. Something happened in the interaction between him and that homeless guy. So they got to their destination and he couldn't settle. He just felt like he had to go back and find this homeless guy and buy him some food. So he did that. He bought the guy some food, and they were sitting down talking over food. And the guy said, "I'm not the only one. There's a city underneath this city where a load of us are there. Loads of homeless people. Do you want to see?" So Jeff Goins says, "Yeah, I'll go and see." So he takes him, crosses over the road, goes down the gully, crosses over this, jumps over that. And soon they happen upon this place, this other town, this other city beneath the city, where all these homeless people hang out. People from all different backgrounds, people who are from the top to the bottom, from the left to the right, just all kinds of different people who are homeless underneath the city that's, where everyone's going about their business. And Jeff Goins says, "I could not see that ever again. I couldn't live my life as though that I'd never seen that, as though that never happened to me, as though I didn't have that experience." Jeff Goins realized that his life would never be the same again. He said, "I was wrecked." I've heard this notion again that it happened. I was turning 49 and I was going to have a big charity event, and I wanted to support a charity. So I was looking for a charity to support, and I happened upon a lady called Dr. Laura Stachel. And Dr. Laura Stachel is a lady from San Francisco, and we got friendly because I was going to support her charity. And she told me a story that really changed my life too. She said that she used to be an obstetrician, and we had that kind of link in mind. I was a midwife. She's a gynecologist and obstetrician in San Francisco. And she hurt her back, so she couldn't continue doing obs and gynae, because you got to do cesarean sections. Her back just couldn't handle it. So she thought she'd go back to university, and as part of her dissertation, she became really interested in why the maternal mortality, why mothers were dying in childbirth at an astronomical rate in some other developing countries. So she went to Nigeria to look at why their rate of maternal deaths was so high, and she tells a story of being in the hospital when the lights just cut out. All of the electric just goes down. And she said story after story, she started to see instances where the electric would just cut out at a wrong time. And so people would die because no one could see to care for them. Or she saw a woman come with what's called an abruption, where the placenta starts to malfunction. And this woman was bleeding. She was bleeding profusely, and the hospital had to send her away because there was no power, no light, no electricity. No one could treat this woman. So she just sent away. And Laura said the same thing to me. She said, Dion, when I saw this, I couldn't not see it. I couldn't pretend. I couldn't just go back to my life as it was before. I couldn't not see it. She was wrecked. And I feel a bit emotional telling you about this, because when the woman in the meeting today said she can't remember the time when she felt passion and work in the same sentence, my heart kind of broke a little. That I don't think it's okay for us to not have a mission, that we're passionate about, that we really care about in our professional lives. So I just thought I would jump on this Facebook Live to just really challenge you and ask you, have you ever been wrecked? Have you ever been wrecked by an issue that you've seen, and instead of responding to it, you're just pretending that you're just going back to life as usual and not being open and not responding to it? I can't believe I'm feeling so emotional as I'm telling you this. But I think that what the world really needs now are more people to get wrecked, to become touched by the issues that are happening right under our noses. And so I would encourage you to be open. I want you to be open to being wrecked. Be open as you go about your day. Be open to seeing what's going on right under your nose, maybe in your organization, maybe in your community, maybe in your nation. Can it break your heart? Can something break your heart? I know that when I work with lots, I know from my own journey and from the work that I'm doing with other leaders, that sometimes we put on all this armor just to survive in the marketplace. We just get hard and we just pull ourselves back and put on this front and cover up our heart so we don't get hurt and that we can survive. But can that same armored up heart be touched by stuff that's happening right under your nose? I know this is a challenging question. I'm challenging myself with the same question. And I'm encouraging you to be open to being wrecked, uncovering your heart a little bit in the marketplace and just looking with fresh eyes at what really needs to happen. And then when you see something, when something does wreck you, I want you to be open to responding. You see, so many, I've heard stories, I've had women tell me stories about the time that they were wrecked, sometimes a decade ago, sometimes years ago. And then they just sort of like put it behind them like nothing's happened. I'm saying, if you get wrecked, if you get touched by something that's happening under your nose, that's a pretty big clue in my book that you're being called wrecked by it, to live your life encompassing of what you've seen. Live your life as though you've seen that, and not pretend and go on as though you haven't seen it. Do you know what I mean? I really believe that being wrecked, being passionate, being captivated by an issue is really the spark that will ignite your influence factor. You know, there are people who just, I was reading a book the other day by somebody called, oh no, I'm going to mess up the quote completely. But this woman, she was saying that in the foreword, the guy said about the woman who wrote the book, you cannot be around this woman for 5 minutes without knowing what she cares about. Girls being trafficked. You cannot be in her company without knowing that that's what she stands for. That's what she's passionate about. That's what wrecked her. So Ernestine, you're saying that I'm wrecked by the healthcare system right now. I'm telling you that there's just so much to be wrecked about in the healthcare system globally. And I know that whether you work in health or not, wherever you work in the marketplace, I know that there are issues right now that if we were to open our eyes and our hearts, they would wreck us. They would change our life as we know it. And we would feel compelled to grow as credible, high-level influencers to get something done about this. That's what happened to Jeff Goyne. That's what happened to Laura Stachel. That's what's happened to me. And I really believe that it's time for us to get wrecked. So, I don't know. Let me see what you're saying. Ernestine, yeah, I'm wrecked by the healthcare system right now. I see patients daily who will not survive had it not been for the government drugs being made available to them. Yeah, we've spoken about this before. Thank you, Ola Toyin. What are you wrecked over? What's wrecked you? What are you seeing in your sphere of influence? If you're watching on the replay, I'm really excited about this notion of being wrecked. I believe that we need to be open to being wrecked. I believe that when we're being wrecked, you know what I mean, that we respond, that we don't just suppress it and depress it and walk away from it. Ernestine, the fact that you're seeing this is an indication that you're called to be instrumental in the emergence of the solution, new innovative solutions. And we've spoken about this before, and I know that you are a world changer. You are a woman of influence. For everybody, repeat after me. I am a woman of influence. I am a woman of influence. Are you saying that out loud? Say it out loud right now. I am a woman of influence. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And passion is a spark for that influence to run wild and make some difference in our world. That's it from me today. I really hope that you're inspired to be open to being touched by things that are happening right under your nose in your industry, in your organization, in your community, in your nation. Please. We depend on people being able to be touched. There's this quote, isn't there, about all evil needs to be able to prevail, is that good men and women do nothing. Let's not be people who do nothing. Let's be people who get wrecked by the thing that we're being challenged in life to be part of the solution for. Yay. Thank you so much for your comments. Yes, Raquel, you are a woman of influence. Oluwatoyin, thank you so much for your comments. Lovely to have you here, Ernestine, and your daughter. I hope you got something out of this. If you're watching on the replay, go ahead and write where you're watching from in the chat box. Let me know. Have you been wrecked? What's your experience of being wrecked? I really look forward to having more conversations about this with you. And until next time, see you later. Thank you, Caroline. Caroline, I can see you. Thank you.